Good morning, Susanne.
Good morning, Deborah, LeeAnn.
We're excited, and I'll be honest, a little nervous as we begin this new format of tuning in. And I'd like to just give you a little bit of an overview about how we're seeing this going to go, at least for the first month as we try this format out. Each week, we're going to play in the pulse of the week, but we're going to be applying it to one of the pillars of the School of Light. And the one that we're choosing to begin with is called Truth Teller. And this pillar is composed of four beautiful gene keys. And the first one, because it's leadership with humility, is perfectly in tune with this pulse. So the timing just felt like, ooh, juicy time to go. The following will continue through the activation sequence of this pillar, and it includes gene keys, besides 31 right now, 41, which the gift is anticipation, 24, gene key 24, silence as the city, and invention as the gift. And the last one is 44, gene key 44, which is all about teamwork and karmic relationships. The fifth week, we're going to do an integration. We'll have some reflection opportunities for you to take this information and how does this play in your life as being a truth teller, as being a leader in these times. So it's fun to have structure, and it's also kind of like, give us some permission if we deviate based on what's going on. So, okay, all yours. I'll pass the baton.
Well, when we think about sounding our truth, this particular key, and we're talking, of course, about gene keys written by Richard Rudd, and we also are really honing in on the frequencies of also looking at the human design aspect of it. And this is related to our throat. And each one of us has this human design, and however it plays out. And this particular key falls in human design right at the throat, connecting to the heart. And so when we talk about leadership, it's about speaking your truth and having that your heart center connected to your throat. And so you're actually speaking from a heart-centered space. And this is about influencing your voice. Your voice is an influence in the world. And really, that is about your creativity and about using that and as a very specific vehicle, not just for leading yourself, but as you lead yourself, the ripple effect that you have in the collective, and it's shifting the collective energy.
Yeah. So can I imagine it as being kind of like a transmission channel, or like if we're all transmitters, this is the way that we emanate our essence into the world, our truth, our beingness. Would that be a great way to see that? I'm trying to.
Yeah, I mean, because the throat has lots of various different gates or gene keys connected to it. They're all, but this one is specifically on the route to the heart center.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. So it's
so yeah. So what is the human design channel, or whatever you call that? What is that? I know it's different from a key. The gate. What's that one called?
The gate is called the leader.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And so where can we tune in to find that within us? I mean, I know that you use your voice in many ways for your healing, for your expression, for your beingness in the world. And I do too, I suppose. I always have found this to be, I am my own channel. So very often I will record myself when I wake up in the morning, because the messages that are coming through, or if by the time I take them and put my brain on to write them out, things get lost. So for me, sometimes the words have to come out through me, and it also is embodied because it's coming through my energy system, my nervous system, my muscles, everything that goes into creating that and putting that out into the world. And I think truth telling is a muscle, especially for many of us women. Mm-hmm. We've been silenced. And if you think about how often women were hung, we had our heads chopped off, we were silenced in one way or another, cutting their tongues out. There were all these ways to make this be quiet, because that's where the power was.
Yeah. And I think that that's really the challenge of us being able to speak our truth. And
have that ancestral memory that we're rewriting, right? We're not trying anymore. We're
stepping forward.
Yeah. Love that.
Yeah. So it's learning to take that ownership of who you are. And as a reflection, I mean, I think a good tool to do is to write down all the things that you feel you've led in your life. Like you haven't taken the path that somebody else expected you to do. You trotted your own path, and just make note of how you've led your life.
Mm-hmm. And because I'm the shadow girl, I'm even wearing black to honor that. I want to know, so how do we know? Because very often our bodies will tell. There's always a tell, right? They always talk about that when the poker players, that there's something that when they're like bluffing, that their body has a tell. What is it in our bodies that would say, oh, that's not really true? Awareness and come back and go, okay, let me rephrase that. What's really true for me right now is, because there's going to be moments where it's going to come out, and because we're saying something for whatever our reasoning is, to fit in, to be liked, to calm the situation because we don't like conflict. I mean, there's a reason why we don't honor and speak our truth. And looking at the shadow of that, do you know what the shadow is?
The shadow of this key is arrogance.
Yeah. And for me, I can speak easily. I get into my head and I'm like, let me prove that I know that. I know the truth of that. And I knew there was going to be a reason why I woke up to this morning, that of being like a many-headed serpent, kind of like Medusa with all the snakes, coming out of her head. And we have all of these different awarenesses and different intelligences and different ways of showing up. And one of them is had to do with, I love this, where did I write it? The knowingness, like I know this. And so let me just tell you. So it's a kind of a persona based, like, let me tell you the facts behind that. I know what I'm talking about. We're up here, right? We're not connected. Another one is the open mind, the creative, like child's mind, they call it, or the beginner's mind, like being curious, like wow, I didn't know that, and learning something in every moment from every experience, from every person. And there's these varieties of ways where we can show up and then go, is that really what I'm wanting to say there? And how do I honor? Is it my persona that's talking? Is it my wise woman that's integrated, that looks at all of these places and speaks the truth? Where is it? And can I just be in listening mind, where I really don't know what the answer is, and I'm going to wait and see, and you and I both play this, what comes out. So anyway, I imagined all of these different things and going, okay, I'm pulling all those different ones back in because they're all me. And I have choice in this moment. How do I want to respond to life, to the conversation, to the other? So that's my riff on truth telling today.
I appreciate that riff. Yeah, the probably through many integrations in my life, I kept hearing leader, leader, leader. And I think that each one of us is called forth to step forward in some capacity in our life, to show up however we show up, to step into that. And I think the challenge that we get to overcome is that hesitancy.
Mm.
And I don't want to say go back to sleep, but when we're pushed up to the edge, can we stretch a little bit? Can we expand a little bit beyond our comfort zone to something new?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's kind of being willing to set the persona, knowing mind aside, and being open to the wisdom that's in flow for us. And that is a lot of trust. The first time I went to something where I said I wasn't going to have slide decks, and they were like, "Do you have handouts for everybody?" And I said, "Well, I'm not really sure where the conversation's going to go." And I'm happy to refer to or share afterwards some of the resources that I spoke to, but in the moment, I don't know where this is going to go. And the person was just like, but I remember joining a very expensive program years ago, and she didn't have a syllabus. And I was like, how can you do that? How can you teach? How can I spend all this money and I'm not going to learn? I'm not. And she goes, well, I do have a loosely, we're going to cover this, this, and this, but in what order and how it flows is going to be dependent on the field. And I thought, talk about being in the moment and in the flow of what is needed to serve the community. I thought, it totally shifted the paradigm of how a trainer needs to be, or a facilitator or a guide. Got to have my map and have it all planned out. So I think trust and truth have a lot going on besides sharing the first three letters of those words. Really big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really appreciate the truth teller that's within us, because it's made for a very interesting life. And, whenever you've spoken up to pivot or change a part of your life, it's no mere coincidence. Like that's the impetus of you leading your life so that we can lead to for others too. I mean, this is a collective. We are a collective organism. And so the more ripple effects that we have on one another, that's how evolution happens and how it changes.
So, and that brings me to being willing to shift in the moment. Like what was true for me 10 minutes ago may not be the same thing that I'm feeling right now is the truth.
Yeah.
And
being okay with it.
Well, then that calls into place the courage, right? Which is why I think the lion is such a beautiful embodiment of truth telling. Yeah, it might come out as a roar and it might come out as a whimper, but you know what? A lion is known for its courage and they don't hide. They're not like, oh, you know what? Today I'm not really feeling up to telling my truth. I'm just going to go hide.
Yeah.
Whereas I am the queen of invisibility cloaks. And I'm now noticing, oh, let's take that off and come out into the sun and be the truth that you are. So I think these times are calling for each of us to stretch in new ways.
Yeah.
And tuning back into what we know is only we know what that is the truth for us. And where would there be something? Where would there be a conversation? Where would there be a place in your life where there might maybe more truth is needed? I'm going to be contemplating that today. So, any other thoughts before we close? And your questions, your reflections, your thoughts on this are really going to be supportive because we're going to continue building and playing with this theme in a little bit different ways and from different facets as we move through the next month of Leo. Oh my God, another appropriate synchronization.
Yeah.
So this has been awesome. Thank you. We weren't sure how this was going to play, but we hope we've been in service. And as one of my clients always says to me, be blessed.